Gentle ladies and men, welcome. It's I was just talking to Richard. I was like, this episode is gonna be an easy. I thought this episode was just gonna be, talking about Croatia and slightly previewing what happened, what's gonna happen this upcoming weekend. And yesterday, Nikola Kalinic got got sacked as sporting director of Hajduk, and today he decided to go full kaboom and speak his truth. Which there's a lot.
There is, yeah. I think particularly sort of I think a lot of it is stuff we've had mentioned in terms of Hajduk in the past, and I think in terms of what has been stated as the reasoning behind it, I think it's things we've indicated before in terms of Hajduk's sort of back end setup. But yeah, there were other things.
There were other things. I think we should just start off with Kalinic.
Yeah.
As the sporting director, obviously came in straight from the pitch. So obviously, I think everybody knew that they were bringing in a guy that has literally no experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no surprise that he's gotten sacked. I think if you told me when he got hired that he would get sacked after the transfer, I'd be like, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
but
with that sort of, I suppose when you're appointing someone just brand new, you have to have some acceptance that they're going to take a little while to bed in.
Yeah, especially if he comes straight into it after retiring.
Yeah. And so I think in that sense, his sacking was a surprise because you just kind of think if you're going to appoint that guy in the first place, you're going to give him 18 months.
Yeah.
But
no.
18 weeks.
Yeah, so the reason that the president, Ivan Bilic, has come out, and Aljoša Pavlin also in a few interviews, because there was a whole PR battle before he got sacked. They listed the reasons as he didn't sell any players. Well, for big money. Obviously not counting Sahiti, and actually Sosic hasn't moved yet. So yeah, the Hajduk only got under 1 million. It's like 900, 800K for Sahiti, which not great.
No.
And Kalinic this morning came out and said that he had a transfer offer of 7 million from Parma for Pukstas, which Aljoša Pavlin, the head of the supervisory board, said that he wants to sell Pukstas for at least 10 million, which it's a bit much to ask for Pukstas, who has only been playing in the HNL.
It's the price I'd have put on him. 10 million, to be fair. I suppose it's shorn of context a bit. You can have a bid for a 7 million in from a club. When did you have that bid? From 7 million, and when did you turn around? Because at the end of the day, if you've received that on the 1st of August, you probably would think, well, actually, we really do want 10.
Yeah, if it's the first offer, the first offer, you're like, yeah, let's see if we can get more.
Yeah, we know how bidding wars work. We know how the end of transfer windows tend to work. That's when prices tend to go, whew. But I suppose there's probably no, if you're viewing Hajduk from the outside and seeing them not do what they want to do in Europe, obviously, then probably like, yeah, I ain't going above 7 million. Much as Partizan were held to ransom for similar justification.
Yeah. College also went to talk about he basically said that Ivan Bilic, the president of the club, isn't actually leading the club or making the big decisions. He's actually, the supervisory board is making the decisions, especially Aljoša Pavlin, which if true, which as a fan, I'm not a fan of this. As a fan of the club, I absolutely hate that this is happening 2 days before we're playing against Dinamo. But Aljoša Pavlin, for those who aren't that caught, I doubt you know this also, Richard. Aljoša Pavlin you can literally message him on Facebook Messenger, and he'll probably respond to you and argue with you over his decisions.
Cool. I'll do that after this.
So if you want to have a quick argument with Ash opponents, just go onto Facebook and give him a message. He'll probably respond inside 2 minutes.
Send him the link to this episode and just say, what are your thoughts?
So Nikola Kalinic also just said that Ivan Bilic is just a pawn of the supervisory board, which, I mean, the supervisory board immediately got rid of Luksha Jakubusic as soon as there was that we couldn't win the title mathematically, and they brought in Ivan Bilic. They had him prepared, so now looking good for them or for the club if true.
But also, they're the people who appoint the guy, so. Yeah, of course he's a pawn. They're the people he answers to.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, it's difficult to because at the end of the day, these are people in suits. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. We don't know their competencies or how good they are or what they know, what they're talking about. They obviously felt Nikola Kalinic didn't know what he was talking about for various reasons. And like you say, I mean, if you're going out and having a go at people on messaging apps, then that's not indicating you're professional, but
especially fans, and anybody can message them.
But let's be honest, unprofessional people running football clubs is hardly that strange.
Hardly, especially in Croatia as well. Another thing about the supervisory board, I think this came out after we recorded the last episode that Salahi was literally at the brink of joining the club, but Aisha Pavlin gave the red light to Kalinic because Kalinic got a sponsor to cover his wages and the transfer, and Pavlin obviously refused that. But somehow he accepted the loan of Toma Basic. But Toma Basic was gonna come on a loan on a very big fee, which Hajduk had to pay his wages. So I don't know how you greenlight a loan transfer, but not a full-time permanent transfer of which you can then earn money back.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to know the economics of that particular decision because, like you say, the difference is the size of the loan fee that was being asked for Basic. Now I can understand why they didn't do that deal. Because I don't think it would have been a very sensible deal to do. But it's also kind of natural, and this probably gets into some of the more concerning stuff that I think Kalinic said in terms of the financial state of the club, which was that you look to sell players, but then you're also looking to loan because at the end of the day, you bring in a loan, it's not a wage you're paying for an extended period of time. It's low risk. It's as low risk as it gets. And again, for the second time I'm going to mention Partizan, that's exactly what they've done this window, which is we need to make a load of money fast because otherwise the club's going to close. We just send guys out for barely any fee and we're going to bring guys in on loan. It's not a sensible or sustainable way to run a club, but it does the job for a season, and then you would presume this time next year they'll be looking at, okay, well, now we've got European money, we don't have to worry so much about that. And really perhaps what they're looking at is closing the hole that not selling Puchtas did. But obviously we've mentioned for what reasons that was an issue. And I think there was also sort of mention of wages not being fully paid, which that obviously shouldn't be happening. That's your first job as a company. Never mind football club, is to pay the people you employ. And if you're not meeting that, then I ain't got time for you. Also, it doesn't make sense as to why you sack, Kalinic and Perisic, who, let's be honest, we're getting €1 a week. At least would accept €1 a week.
Kalinic has said that he will not take any money, that he will, just take a sacking and not look for the money that was, entitled to him for the rest of his contract. I mean, what else? He said that Ivan Bilic made a list of players he didn't want at the club, which I mean, there was Lovre Kalinic on there, the captain of the club, Marko Livaja. I don't think I need to say more. Krovinovic and Šarlija. So,
of which, I mean, let's be quite honest, of the first three names of those, you're probably talking about the top three paid players on books. And also people with not that much resale value beyond this season, maybe next summer at a push. I think we were talking about at the end of last season. I said this summer should be the summer that you sell Livaja, because this is the only time you're going to get any money from him to reinvest and to actually, try and sort out a long-term picture for the attacking sector of the club, as it were, which obviously you didn't do, but you can understand exactly why that was part of the planning. But at the end of the day, speak to clubs. And if you've worked in clubs, you kind of know how you're working your recruitment. You're not working this window. You're not doing what Nikola Kalinic was doing. And I think it shouldn't be hidden that in all of this, Nikola Kalinic didn't do a very good job.
No, I mean, as we said, he had no experience, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, he didn't have experience. He didn't have a recruitment team really around him, which is why we sort of said that Hajduk's hiring policy was who's already connected to people. They didn't look beyond this summer, and they should be looking really to next summer already and have those plans and that sort of long-term strategy. And now that clearly wasn't there. And also, just in terms of putting a backroom staff in for Gattuso, again, there's not really been the appointments there. So if you are marking that on at least, okay, we're going to cut back, we're going to push youth, but we're going to have this really great staff at the club to help develop these and bring them on. Well, he's failed on that as well. So there's not. I don't think there was really a metric on which Kalinic could be described to have succeeded. But it appears the biggest metric of all in which he didn't succeed was politics.
Yeah. That just reminded me of something, and I immediately forgot it.
Must have been
Give me a second. Must have been. So as soon as you mentioned Gattuso, obviously Kalinic was one of the main ones that worked on getting Gattuso in, and he got him. And now, obviously, the question of is Gattuso gonna stay as manager, or is the new sporting director who has already been picked? That's why Kalinic was sacked yesterday, which is what Bilic said today, not even 2 hours ago in his press conference, that they made it. They have a foreigner coming in, a new sporting director. But he also said that the sporting director cannot change the status of the manager, and that he expects Gattuso to do the full 2 years of his contract.
That sounds like he would like Mr. Gattuso to walk, so he doesn't have to pay him.
I was about to say, it's probably, if you can't sack him because you don't have the money to sack him, so you're like, I mean, nobody can really change his position except himself.
Yeah, and obviously we'll see who this new person is. I says it's foreign. I can officially rule myself out of the running. But again, unless they're Italian, I mean, possibly, especially if they're Italian, they might not want Gattuso at the club. But they need someone who has heritage, who has experience, who knows how to put these things together.
Bilic said he has 20 plus years of experience.
Okay, doing what? Kalinic has 20 plus years of experience.
He does. He was asked to do. he has 20 plus years of contacts. This guy has worked, I think he said, as a sporting director and a club sports something, like an advisor to the sports politics or whatever. Yeah, something like that. So he has experience, but he said that it'll be announced when he signs the contract. So God knows when that's gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be honest. If he was already signed, he'd already be announced.
Yeah, they wouldn't be waiting at all.
Exactly.
Kalinic also said that they lied about the transfer budget. They said that he would have the same transfer budget, but then obviously said, "Chief, we ain't got we ain't got a cent."
Yeah, you get the
for you
same
to
transfer
spend.
budget if you sell players. You didn't sell players, you don't get the same transfer budget. That, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot more. He said that obviously Alsha Pavlin is leading the club, which I mean, for somebody that's supposed to be just supervising things, not great if true. But yeah, I mean, if you obviously the Bilic and Pavlin brought in Kalinic as the sporting director, so I mean, it's to their own failure. It's their own failure for this whole thing that happened. Obviously, didn't trust him to continue on and sacked him yesterday, which, especially like 3 days before the big game in Zagreb, and now it's all just everything but apart from the game and the media.
Yeah, it's changed the narrative when you didn't need to. At least if you did it on, let's say, Saturday or Sunday after losing to Dinamo.
Yeah,
you could be like,
then
okay, there's kind of a reason there. You kind of expect a bit of fallout.
Yeah,
but yeah, you've done it when nothing else is going on domestically. No one's attention is looking at anything other than what's going on at you, because obviously the Nations League had finished by the time this all kicked off. So yeah, you've just got main character syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here has an ego. Pavlin has an ego, I think. I mean, just the fact that he argues with not nobodies but fans on social media is enough to talk about his own ego.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Bilic today looked very angry at the press conference, even stated that he was angry multiple times. Attacked Tomislav Gabelic, a journalist who asked like 5 questions in one. So obviously he wasn't a fan of that.
That is annoying, to be fair.
Yeah, but also Hajduk just turning off the comments on all social media posts and limiting journalists to just one question. And every journalist like, well, I have like 100 questions, but I guess I'll ask this one.
Yeah. And that's the most awkward one as well.
Yeah. I mean, Ivan Bilic, as I said, he's said that he hasn't done the things that Kalinic has said he's done. So it's just he said, she said, for all we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's messy.
It's very messy, and certainly not the good type of Lionel Messi, but the bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, but this press conference from Peter just looked like trying to save as much as possible, trying to save face as much as possible, because obviously you're still at fault. Kalinic was just the sporting director; he didn't have much power apart from that, and you brought him into that position, and you knew where he was. And and also Ivan Bilic hasn't really looked like a man that wants to be in charge of Hajduk. He in a TV interview not that long ago said, why did I have to do this?
Well, I think anyone running a football club generally says that.
Well, yeah,
but particularly during a transfer window. But I mean, the same probably applies for Kalinic as well. You can talk about where we were in May when all those appointments and stuff were confirmed.
Yeah.
Certainly they wouldn't have expected in the few months in between, a pretty embarrassing knockout from Europe. Okay, not the most embarrassing that a Croatian club suffered, but not
it's
great.
Up there. It's up there.
It's up there. At least it was only 1-0, not 5-0.
Yeah.
And Perisic, that whole situation in which, let's be quite honest, the club didn't cover themselves in glory. No one did, but the club,
no one did. Yeah,
really didn't. And
yeah, but at least we haven't lost a lot of money. We actually lost we lost like 12 euros.
Yeah, exactly. You lost some shirt revenue. That's about it.
We could buy like a few chocolates for the squad if they win against if they beat Dinamo on Friday. So
Yeah, they've gone on Moonpig or whatever the Croatian equivalent of a greetings card website is, and send sorry you're leaving card to Kalinic. That's it. That's the Perisic saving done, gone. But you have those coming in quick succession. It's been a very steep learning curve, and also one that they've kind of stalled on completely in actually meeting the challenges that have been put to them over these past few months. And for as much as we say, Kalinic didn't do well, and there were reasons why Kalinic hasn't done well. Bilic hasn't done well.
Bilic hasn't done anything.
They've all had the same kind of learning curve to be confronted with, but at the end of the day, Kalinic was the one at the bottom, and it's trickle down economics, but it's always the shit that trickles down.
Yeah. It's what else? Again, I had a thought and I was prepared to say it, and then I listened to you and I'm like, yeah. Oh, I forgot it. I'm
not helpful, but I am distracting.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but now I'm trying to trickle back into what I wanted to say. But whilst I try to gather my thoughts, let's talk about the few transfers that have happened on the last day, or after the last day. Also, Dominik Kovacic is the latest free agent that has come into the HNL. Slaven Belupo signed him today. Darko Nejašmić, Richard, has left. Osijek.
Nejašmić has been, obviously the past few years, I think he's been, in general, I don't want to say disappointment, because he's been a very good HNL player. I think people had higher hopes for him than that when he broke through at Hajduk. I know, again, I always joke, the standard for me for good players that I've actually have at one point tried to sign him, and I have at one point tried to sign Nejašmić on loan. Obviously he's gone to irrelevance. That's the real pity. That's the real pity. It's not, about his potential, about what Osijek haven't got for him. Because let's be honest, they've got what I think it's $1 million for him, so they've not made a profit.
$1 million. No,
this is a player you should be making a profit on, but
especially when you signed them.
Yeah, but obviously it's last year a contract, and we're going to just to the Middle East. We know where you're going.
Everybody knows where you're going.
Everyone knows where you're going.
Yeah,
fair enough, but don't expect, that in 3-4 years, when you want to come back, that you're going to have much of a career many options that's going to be available to you. Because, if we're looking at players from a scouting perspective, one of the things you're looking at is their mentality. And if you're seeing a guy, 25 and under, going to the Middle East, going to, obviously, in the Middle East in terms of like UAE, Qatar, Saudi, but also, we see with quite a few players going to likes of Uzbekistan, places like that, where, there is decent amounts of oil money behind clubs. And you immediately know, all right, okay, well, we know what he's in it for. He's in it for the money. So he's not going to be loyal. I hope he gets what he wants out of it.
He's definitely going to get what he wants.
Yes, he's going to get a truckload of it. But yeah, I think for a player who promised so much, it's very disappointing.
Yeah. What else happened? Adrio Pajaziti came from Fulham to Gorica. Gorica obviously wanted them before, but Fulham rejected their offer, and Gorica was like, "Hey, we still want him. The transfer window is still going on in Croatia, so let's get this done." And Fulham was like, "Yeah, fair enough."
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched him in Albania's under-21s. Any clips from him?
No, I haven't.
Oh, he's good.
He's good.
He's good. Yeah.
I know. I saw he has a few goals. I think he has like 7-8 goals in like 13 appearances.
Yeah.
I
watched the I think last Friday, the first one. and he was really impressive in that. Gorica have got a player there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is probably clear from the fact that Fulham didn't really want to let him go, to Gorica.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's better for him to be playing and getting football for his development than to be sat playing PL2 football at half intensity.
Obviously.
So it's good for the player. I think it should be great for Gorica.
Yeah, and they also brought in a guy from Guinea-Bissau that actually was born in Guinea-Bissau but plays for Portugal. Mesake Ju, I think that's his name, played for Mafra and Novi Krete. Came from Benfica's and also played at West Ham's under 21s.
West Ham lads are just getting around the iron, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Actually, just when you see an English person, someone from an English academy in the region in general, it tends to be that they've been at West Ham at some point or another.
Yes, yeah, it does. But I mean, Payaziti hasn't.
No, we'll let him off.
We'll let him off. What else happened? Marko Pajac obviously was announced at Lokomotiva. Gojak and Dogan obviously joined Rijeka and Perica.
Yeah.
So
and Menlo not.
No, something has happened there. So if he wants to move, he'll have to terminate his contract.
Yeah, and he's not doing that.
Yeah, obviously it's a big contract, so I'm like, yeah, probably not, because there are some sources that are saying, oh yeah, he's staying at Dinamo. Other sources are saying, yeah, he's coming to Rijeka. So
no, he's
I doubt he's gonna terminate that kind of contract. Also, I think we spoke about Latkovic and Čorić last episode.
Yeah, so Latkovic was playing today.
Yeah, and he scored.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the cup, no surprises in this first round of 32. Mladež Dralovi beat Jadran Poreć, Istra beat Tomislav, Šibenik beat Zrinski, which was a rematch of last year's fight for promotion. And Zrinski again lost. Gorica beat Đakovo on penalties. That was super close. Benja Beletinec, Bjelovar, Dugopolje are also through. Slavonia, Požega are also through. Lokomotiva, I mean every favorite one. Lokomotiva, Ruderslaven, and Varaždin are also through.
Oh, Ruders won a game.
Yeah, they won a game, 2-1.
That's still
barely
this season.
Yeah, but barely against Team Pitomac. I think they're also 4th tier. Yeah, 4th tier also.
That's top luck for you.
Listen, I mean, Toplak's back, which is great to see, and I hope that he can finally, get this Ruder side actually on some wins in the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we shortly cover the preview of this round and then go into the Nations League, where I hope you'll have a bit to say about Scotland, and I have a bit to say about Croatia.
Yeah, I don't have that much to say about Scotland, because it was one where I just saw the lineups, just like, oh, why? The most entertaining Nations League game I watched was Montenegro Wales.
Oh yeah.
That was a wild. The first 20 minutes of that was as good as 20 minutes of a game I've seen all season so far.
But yeah, before we get into the Nations League, Dinamo Hajduk obviously on Friday.
Yeah.
No Josip Misic. No Josip Misic for Dinamo.
I don't think that's really going to hurt them too much in this instance. I mean, we've obviously sort of Hajduk are just grinding out results that they don't necessarily deserve. But I mean, is taking a step up now.
Yeah. You really have to, obviously Hajduk is gonna hope that you can get that, you can survive the first 30-40 minutes as Rijeka did, and then hopefully Dinamo stops for a short time and you can try something.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't.
It's tough.
I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah. Obviously, you need to improve your finishing as well, which Hajduk's finishing hasn't been great this season. Yeah. I mean, just look at the game against Tosik. You had a couple of chances. Malen's obviously fantastic goalie. Oh yeah, Chavlina.
Oh
yeah. I mean, Chavla is not gonna play for Osijek anymore, which
won't surprise people.
Shocker. They're gonna terminate this loan at the end of at the start of the January transfer window because the summer transfer window has ended and you cannot terminate a loan whilst outside of the transfer window. So Chavla is just has to stick it out.
Yeah, he'll play. I mean, I say play under 21s football, but literally he'll play international under 21s football.
Yeah,
and that's it. Now,
yeah, a lot of Dynamo. Dynamo is obviously angry about that, but I mean, he brought it upon himself.
Yeah,
you can't, go again. You can't put all the blame on your teammates and coaches, and then expect to go back and play.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just wasted half a season of his career, which I mean, fair play. Fair play. But yeah, back to Dynamo Hajduk. It's tough for me to see, especially now. I was not optimistic, but I was, had some kind of optimism before yesterday, and then yesterday came, and I'm like, oh well, I don't expect anything. I didn't expect anything to begin with. Now I expect even less.
Yeah. I mean, I think possibly the only benefit is that, Inga Tuso, as just a personality, is someone who you put his back up against the wall and he does tend to kick out a bit and get a bit of reaction. And that's possibly what that I think is the main hope, that you're hoping there's a big mental, not uplift, but right, okay, we'll show them coming out of it. But I mean, I don't think we can really expect it, quite aside from anything. We talk about how having not necessarily had great results. Well, they've also not really taken on anyone this season so far.
Yeah, they've taken out Osijek, which I mean, Osijek obviously in that match was the worst we saw this season.
The best side they've taken on this season, Aristra.
Waterstein. Oh, I would say Waterstein.
Well, much of a muchness in terms of that sort of mid-table level. But, obviously, it's Dynamo next as their first, real top, I hesitate saying top four, but top three side that they're going to face this season. And, quite aside from anything, yes, they've got results before, but they need to be a hell of a lot better to get anything out of Dynamo. And I mean, I don't think there's too much hope of that. They are, as per Sofa Score's betting bit, they are 100 to 30. I don't know if you use decimal or fractional.
I do decimals.
That's 3.3.
So for Hajduk it's 5, and for Dynamo it's 1.65. So Dynamo is a big favorite.
Well, the UK are very bad value then, because they are they are Burlington Bertie 100 to 30 as the tic tac goes. Which
the Croatian odds are obviously sadly more realistic. Sadly so. But I hope that everything we're saying now is kind of similar to what we were saying before Rijeka Dynamo. So I'm just hoping, please, let us get a draw.
Yeah. I mean,
just don't lose.
The possible. I mean, if you're looking for that sort of silver lining, is that straight after it they're off to Munich, and they might be like, okay, maybe we're going to play what's going to be our INL side in this game, and we play our Champions League side and switch a couple of players around. But I don't think you do that in this game.
No, I there was obviously press conferences for the players, and they've said that they are gonna go to win against Hajduk and then enjoy the game against Bayern.
Yeah, and then rest in the game against Slaven.
Exactly. Exactly. Then on Friday, not after Friday, on Saturday we have Istra Lokomotiva.
Yeah, which is, I mean, we mentioned before in terms of Istra, this is the spell in which we're going to get to see the real Istra, because they're not taking on big sides. all the time. And I hope they'll be able to put together a couple of wins. I mean, I think the Lokomotiva are just... I mean, he's sort of... You mentioned the winning the cup, but obviously it wasn't a simple winning the cup. Yeah, they won 4-2, but they were 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And we know if you're not a follower of the Croatian Cup, generally how the cup's formatted is if you're in the top flight, you get a fairly easy ride of it in your first game. That's pretty much assured. So that's, I think probably for Istra should be pretty strong favourites for it, even though there are obviously players that are coming to Lokomotiva for strengthening them. That's going to take a little while to have an impact. And on top of that, they're still going to be putting Dujic up front.
Yeah, and I'm also fascinated by, so obviously Marko Pajac has joined Lokomotiva, and his brother Igor Pajac is a referee.
Is he actually refereeing this game? Or is he?
I don't know if he's refereeing that. I know he's refereeing Dinamo Hajduk.
Oh, right, okay.
But so further in the season, imagine you give a red card to your own brother. It won't be a nice Christmas feast. That's all I'm gonna say. The family is gonna be divided.
Yeah.
Then we have Gorica Rijeka, where I mean, if Rijeka don't win this,
yeah, but I mean, so as we indicated, this is the first time we're going to see Pajaziti for.
Oh yeah, true. For Gorica.
So I think that will be a positive. Again, it's probably not the ideal first game for him in terms of playing a very good side, but I think from again sort of the limited watching of the youth internationals, I think we're probably going to see him hopefully be a difference maker for them between them and Slavin at the bottom.
But Gorica needs somebody else to step up because Endokit, now that he's come back, he's again on the top level, and Pershira is also doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, exactly. And for Rijeka, again, they've got a few moving parts. We need to see what exactly they're going to do with Dogan, your favourite. What exactly they're going to do with Gojak.
And Perica
as well. So it's probably the most in construction game of this particular game week.
Yeah, we'll see how Jalovic sets them up. Osijek Slaven, I mean, Osijek need to win it.
I mean, that's just
for Kopitelli really needs a good result, and I think it's about time. You're playing the worst side so far in this season.
It's going to be two drunks at 3 a.m. at kicking out time, fighting over the last kebab. That is how that game's going to go. I mean, again, we've said Osijek have progressively looked worse, but they've never really looked bad.
Yeah.
Slaven have never looked good.
Big difference.
And big difference. And I mean, you talk sort of who they've brought in. They've not really brought much of anything in. I think it's fair to say.
They brought in Nestorovsky, but obviously on the older side. Dolcek, I think you can expect something from him.
Mm-hmm.
And Grgic also, you can probably expect something from him, but everything else, I mean.
Yeah, this is it. If you're Osijek, having had the opening to the season, this is the game you want after having had 2 weeks solid on the training pitches.
Yeah. And I mean, you just need to win. This is a match for everybody to just say, hey, the start wasn't great, but we've somewhat bounced back and we're starting to look okay.
Yeah. And then
Šibenik Varaždin, the two surprises of the season so far.
Yeah. It should be interesting. The surprise, well, Varaždin not really a surprise in terms of what brought isn't surprising. They're very solid, very well organized. They've had individual flecks of brilliance. Sort of going through the player stats for Heinel so far, and Sego. I mean, again, we've mentioned him. I think probably the past 2 episodes. He's having a very good start of the season. He is the best player in the league right now, that is borne out by the stats. by a distance.
Yeah.
I was specifically looking into the stats for Mitrowski, and every time I was looking to Mitrowski, it'd be like, okay, well, he's great on that, but actually look at who's number one is. There you go. So he's having an amazing season so far.
Yeah, Mitrovsky isn't having a bad season. Mitrovsky is also doing very good.
No, I mean, the difference between them is in terms of Mitrovsky is very good at being in the right position and then putting in a final ball, be that shot or a cross, whether it's against the post or not, it's another matter. Shego is that better progressive, creative player. And for two players who ultimately are having similar roles on opposite wings, it's quite interesting to have that contrast. And I think if I was seeing experiment maybe moving them across wings more, that would be quite interesting to see whether that inversion works for them and in unsettling teams. For Šibenik, they've been a surprise, but I think they sort of followed the Eastern mold a little bit in terms of the very they're using pace very well, but also they've got a lot of creativity in there as well. Obviously, Majic has been great.
Well, I need him to give me some points on fantasy, so please.
Well, there we go. Confirmed 0 points, 0 good. That's 3 points for Varadine and 1 red card.
Yeah, he scores an own goal and gets a red. Perfect. But yeah, also we obviously spoke about Dabro not scoring. He scored today in the cup.
Hooray.
So hopefully that means something.
But hopefully it starts him off, because we know he can be a 15-20 goal a season striker. And hopefully not move to China again.
Please, Marco, you saw how you ended up. Just please don't. But yeah, I mean, should we move on to the international stage?
Yeah, it's an interesting window, really. For Croatia, because I think sort of you probably think we'd talk just about each game individually. Oh, this is how Portugal went. This is how Poland went. But because of the nature of who wasn't available, the whole thing's been one big long experiment, and we've been watching players get used to and that experiment develop as we've gone through the international window in terms of playing three at the back. Now, I think with over many years, people have been saying, Mr. Dalic, try three at the back. Have you thought about three at the back?
Ever since Guardiola has gotten on the big stage, it's mostly been that.
Yeah, and I think people are kind of given up following that thread, probably before the summer, because it just wasn't happening.
Yeah,
and
it happened like 2-3 friendlies over the last 5 years, and that's it.
And I think they've gone really badly each time.
Yeah, so my first ever time that I watched a game was after getting on Twitter was a friendly against Tunisia where we played a three at the back. Obviously, the squad back then was like Dario Melniak was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Some other players that I've completely forgot about were in there. Obviously, the squad was very mixed. We lost 2-1 to Tunisia. I think we also played it against Bulgaria like 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think we drew or lost. So obviously not great.
Yeah. And then all it took for it to happen was just
injuries.
Someone crocking on your right backs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, I know when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, I can see people are talking about it, but I bet he just puts a part-time right back in there.
I was like, yeah, Christian Jakic, you're going on right back.
Yeah.
Probably. But thankfully, I mean, it sort of did happen, but thankfully not in the four at the back.
Yeah. And we've seen how it can work. And I think the interesting thing is that if you actually go, once people are fit, play three at the back, well, you've got Stanisic, who is a right back and a centre back. So you want to play him as a right-sided centre back, that would work very well. Juranovic is more a wing back than a right back anyway.
Yeah.
So he's perfect for that. So you have the squad, the depth for going for that. It's just
because we've obviously had a lack of wingers, natural wingers in the squad. So obviously, especially on the right, I do not remember the last time except when Marco Pasalic came and we literally had no natural right wingers. So obviously everybody was, because of those reasons, that we had no left wingers, no right wingers. Just play free at the back, give Juranovic the space, give Sosa the wing back spots, and let's see what happens. And it looked good in both matches. I obviously we lost to Portugal, but it's Portugal, and it's the first time that those players played a free at the back together. So obviously you can't expect much, and it's our toughest game of the whole campaign. So
I think there's two threads really from which one, it looked progressively better. I mean, certainly, obviously those two goals were in the first 30 minutes of the Portugal game, and that was when you could tell really that the defense weren't 100% sure on where to be.
No, everybody was everywhere.
Yeah, so that it made sense really. And against Poland, I don't think, obviously, it wasn't an impressive performance as a whole from Croatia. I think it's fair to say, but there were two key things from that game I'd pull out, which is one, Luka Modric just decided to have one of the games of his life. Just like, it's my birthday tomorrow, I'm gonna have the day off anyway, may as well play really well.
May as well make it better.
Yeah, exactly. And Matanovic.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with Matanovic is a lot of people want to see him there. I think the general consensus is he did pretty well in terms of getting into positions for chances. He just didn't take any of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done it. If I was Budimir, I'd be like, I did pretty well at the Euros, and I'm not starting these games. And this guy's starting and not putting the chances away. So in October, should be really, shouldn't it?
They're also pretty similar in their playing style. They're both, runners putting the pressure on the defense. And obviously pretty tall, so getting at the end of crosses, both kind of on the same page.
Yeah, so that would be my one thing with Matanovic, is that I think it's nice to see him there, but we're probably still at the point where Budimir would be a better option right now. But in the long run, it'll be Matanovic anyway, or another, because
Budimir is
plenty of striker depth.
We also have. You can sort of add Kramaric to the list, but hopefully now that we're playing this free at the back, obviously have Bruno Petkovic here still. So
even outside of it, Bellio and all them lot really, that are going to be coming through in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, Budimir is pretty free, so I'm like, but like he really has like 1 or maybe 2 more years of good football in him.
Yeah, he's got this qualification. He's got this Nations League / the World Cup qualification campaign.
That's it.
That's probably is.
That's probably it.
Obviously, Matanovic is about longer term option. Now, if you want to go full experimental, then go full experimental in the next international window, because really, you've got 3 points already from this Nations League group. You've got your hardest game out of the way, so there's no reason not to experiment if that's the path you want to go down. Because if you want to, let's say drop Petkovic and maybe not drop Budimir or drop Kramaric, but you can, let's say, drop Petkovic and you bring in Bellio, because I think Bellio is there now and should be given that chance let's take a look at him. Then you can do that and experiment and have a nice young front line, and actually maybe that's what we want to go into 2026 with, because we've tested them at that level and we've found out that's actually what we want to do. That's got to be done at some point. And there's a few players who are on that list depending on what the changes are going to be. Now, obviously, when Juranovic and Stanisic fit, are they just going to go back to 4-3-3?
I hope not.
Yeah, there might be still the opportunity to bring some kids in, but there'll be different kids. There'll be, Subject, for example. He started pretty well at Ball. We'll see. I mean, Stanisic is out long term.
Yeah, he's out at the latest end of November.
Yeah, I cannot remember.
At the earliest, at the earliest. Yeah. So 3-4 months. That's it. We won't be seeing him in the Nations League.
I can't remember what Juranovic's is now.
I think it's a month, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
So realistically, we're probably talking about the October games. We will see this again.
Yeah.
And then November.
I hope so, because we looked good.
Yeah. So November really is the testing point for it, because you'll have, presumably, definitely Juranovic fit, fully fit, at least a match fit and ready for it. So then you can go back to the 4 at the back if that's what Dad wants to do, or is the 3 working?
It's actually not known. It's a couple of months, but it's not known how long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I think definitely October we'll see the 3 again. Maybe November. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been I thought sort of like the other thread from it is just, obviously we had Ronaldo's 900th international, not 900th international goal, 900th goal, and just that general contrast in reception between man who not many people respect, and then an excellent performance and the most casual of great free kicks from a man who
so casual. So casual. He just hit it like, yeah, fair enough, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sucic, who was alongside him? It was Luka Sucic and somebody, and Bonasso said, guys, just watch this, okay?
Yeah. So it was just like learning from the master, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an excellent goal. I think the best thing about it is anyone could do that, but at the same
anybody
time,
can do that.
No one could do that.
I mean, that's just typical. I mean, football talk. Like any amateur player could do that, but it's just the consistency of them doing that they cannot replicate.
It's the practice, because it is such a casual just swing. It's not there's nothing fancy about it. I think I could do that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I mean, like out of 100 tries, you would hope you hit it once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you still need the accuracy to get it up and down.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see so many free kick techniques which are just about putting power on it and having the whip on it.
Yeah, but from that position, literally almost on the line, you just need to do what Modric did.
Yeah, and go over the wall.
Yeah. I mean, just fantastic. I mean, that whole game was just him, nothing else.
Yep. And so in terms of the group, we should state that leaves Portugal on 6 points, Croatia on 3, Poland on 3, Scotland on
6. And not great.
I mean, to very briefly say about the Scotland games. I mean, in both games we were all right. In the Poland, both games were better performances than anything we put in at the Euros, but then we just shot.
I mean,
that's not difficult. That's a very low bar. I appreciate.
I was gonna say it's not expecting a lot. It's expecting not even the minimum. It's lower than the minimum.
I mean, the Poland game, see, we go behind, come back from 2-0 down. We gave away 2 stupid penalties in it, and we were on top at the end of that game, and then gave away a stupid penalty, and lose it against Portugal. Obviously we took the lead.
Scott McTominay, the best striker in international football.
Yeah, and then we do, I think, what people expect to, which is to sit back and not sit back. That's a bit harsh, but to stifle Portugal, and eventually it just broke down. And Ronaldo did it, and it's not as if that template against Portugal can't work, because look at Slovenia. But we aren't Slovenia. And I appreciate I'm saying that about Scotland, which has a much stronger.
But the problem is Matthias Kek isn't your manager.
Exactly.
That's the main problem.
And I think for Steve Clarke, even though people are like, well, this was an improvement, but
it
is almost a bit like, if you're picking Andy Ralston, sorry, not Andy Ralston, Tony Ralston as your right back at this level, you are going to get found out. Doesn't really matter who you play. So you need to be flexible in changing your formation to avoid that. And that's that's what it is. You know how to play one way, and when that way gets found out, is in trouble.
It's done.
Now, as for how Croatia will do against that, I mean, I think it's pretty hard to see Scotland winning. Let's be honest, because Scotland don't have a striker. We have Lyndon Dykes, who is a battering ram.
Well, that's great news for us.
Yeah. So
especially for our defense,
take the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, we will. Don't worry. But yeah, let's go back to the Croatia and the three at the back. So I mean, let's start with the three at the back, which in the first game it was Guardiol, Pogranic, and Šutalo. In the second game it was Guardiol, Čalta-Car, and Šutalo. Pogranic, not great.
I mean,
he was just poor. Again,
I think that's the general issue that you have, which is you have two very good centre backs in Šutalo and Guardiol, and another, which is why so hinting at maybe you try Stanisic there and have Šutalo in the middle, but there's obviously it was Pogranic and Erlich tried at the Euros, and Pogranic did have one good game, in that Italy game. Obviously we know how it ended, but he did have a good 90 minutes. The last 5 of those were the problem. So he certainly deserved his chance, but like you say,
then
his lines, it's difficult. Again, in that change of shape, as well as to how that contributes to it.
But Čalta-Car, I think, fits it perfectly. He's, tall, a bit stronger than Pogranic, I think, and better on the ball than Pogranic. So obviously Šutalo and Guardiol, I think, are perfect for those positions. Both playing on their side, and they obviously Guardiol left-footed, playing on the left, Šutalo on the right, playing with his right. Both very good on the ball. So I think that's perfect. And Čalta-Car, I think it's probably our best option to be in the middle of everybody else.
He plays exactly that at club level as well. So he's automatically experienced in it. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, so if we're gonna continue with the back, with the three at the back, just play those three and don't really try and change the damage, please.
Yeah. Agreed.
Guardiol obviously has freedom. Not like full freedom to go wherever he wants, but has good amount of freedom to go forward, make a run if he feels like it, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It gives him space outside him, and also space to run into centrally as well, which is what he wants to do. It's that unpredictability that makes him such an effective option, and he's the only one who's really going to do that. Let's be honest, of those three.
And then in the midfield, in the first game, we had Jakic on the wing back on the right, Modric, Kovacic, and Baturna in the middle, and on the left, Sosa.
Yeah, and then it's much the same in the second one in terms of the swap being Gata for Jakic. But I think you probably would have done that anyway, no matter how Jakic played against Portugal.
You
would put the more attacking player against Poland.
Obviously, because I completely understand Jakic playing against Portugal, because you need more cover. We're not, especially when you have Leao and who was the left back, Mendes.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily how much you learn from from those two games in that particular position.
Yeah. And obviously against Poland, as you said, you're going to play the more offensive player, and Piazza did a fine job on the right.
Yeah.
So hopefully when Stanisic and Juranovic come back, which is sadly not going to be, most likely won't be in this Nations League campaign, but for the World Cup qualifiers, we can have Piazza on the left if Sosa isn't doing good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I think it's going to be one thing that really has to be dealt with probably before October is Perisic. And
I mean,
I think he's done at this level, I think.
Obviously, Dalic has protected them again. He said that he just wants him to get him back at 100%, which Zlatko, I hate to break it to you, I doubt he's ever going to return even close to 100%.
I think, and to be fair, he's hardly the only unattached player who's played this international break. Got a couple for North Macedonia as well. But the difference is you have depth. You don't need to pick him.
We had met other players.
Yeah, exactly. And if he's not fit, there's no point him being there.
I mean, remember originally Perisic was in the squad, Piazza was on the standby call.
Yeah.
So, but obviously with injuries, we had to call up Piazza. So, I mean, yeah. What was I going to say? Kovacic, absolutely brilliant in the first game. I mean, fell off a bit, but was still great in the second game against Poland. I mean,
I think
took the spotlight in the second game. So
I don't know if you saw the IDP little video, but just about Kovacic's movement in the particularly in the Poland game, in terms of just dropping back and pulling someone with him to open up gaps for Modric in front of him. And I mean, it seemed so weird because really he's just dropping back into a position where, when you're playing 4 at the back, there would have been Brozovic there anyway.
Yeah.
But I think because of the type of player Kovacic is, someone has to follow him because they think,
obviously,
what's he going to do? And it's created, space for others. Obviously, in this instance, it's Modric who benefited greatly from it. Possibly then they need to look at that sort of other option in midfield, because I don't think anyone's put a claim on it
yet.
On these 2 games.
Peters, I mean, so in the first game we had Baturna obviously didn't really play in the best position for himself, obviously, and especially when you have, Ruben Dias on your back, you're not going to do a lot, are you?
No.
Especially when you make the jump from the high NL to Ruben Dias. So yeah, expected for that. In the second game, a bit of a surprise. We saw Petar Sucic start in that position, and obviously, he was fine, but not anything special.
No, I think.
And Sucic came in both games, and did something, tried to do something, but again, as you said, nobody really has claimed it.
No, I think Luka Sucic has to start there against Scotland, really. Just in terms of you've tried the others, like you say, it's a bit too deep for Baturina. And for Petar Sucic, Kovacic, we talk about the positives of him dropping back, but he's also probably dropping back into the positions Sucic wants to take. So
yeah, that's why I was surprised. I was like, so we're gonna play Sucic in the advanced role?
Yeah. It's almost as if you played the wrong midfielders in each game. Should have been Sucic against Portugal, Baturina against Poland. But I think if you're Lucas Sucic, you're probably watching these guys and be like, well, you've not made the case for it not to be me, so it should be.
And also, Luka Ivanušić, where is he? He has, so in the Euros and this First Nations League campaign, he's made, I think, 5 minutes, which is in the Euros, I think, against the league he came in, that's it.
Yeah. Again, why not try him? I suppose the other thing is, Myra will be back as well, and you presumably then you would have, again, if you keeping that sort of set central 3, Modric, Kovacic, and Maya, because if you're having Kovacic drop back, and be your defensive shield, then Maya can do what he wants to do and be creative, because we know he doesn't like defending.
Yeah. Modric, obviously, in the first game, he was more in the deeper role. Him and Kovacic are both dropping back. Obviously, it's against Portugal, so we wanted to dominate possession as much as possible. So Baturna was left pretty much on his own, as we mentioned. In the second game, Modric was more of the presser.
Yeah, it was in the 2018. It was in the 2018 World Cup doing everything role.
Yeah, and it's brought up a question for me, which is like, where do we use Modric? Where is he most useful? Is that in the attack, or when he's a bit lower on the field? Because at 39, he's still our best presser in the squad. Which I mean
that's it. If he's got the legs for it, he should still be doing his box.
And obviously he does.
Yeah. I don't think he's necessarily got the legs to do that 2 games in a
90 minutes. Yeah, 90 minutes. Yeah, back to back.
But yeah, I mean, I think Baturna, from an attacking perspective, if you're looking purely as an attacking solo, Baturna probably offers you a little bit more than Modric. Not necessarily from a creative sense, but from a from a shooting sense.
Yeah.
Baturna has a couple more tricks up his sleeve. From a defensive perspective, Modric can do that running, but at the same time, he's still a little person who can get shrugged off the ball, not easily, but more easily than other players. And he's not going to be throwing himself into tackles.
Especially at 39.
Yeah, you're relying on how he reads a game. And whether you use him as you use Kovacic in that game in terms of, like I say, dropping a little bit deeper and pulling players with him, because you're always going to. Are you always going to follow Modric? I don't think you do, because he drops back so often. So that kind of do everything role is probably what suits him most, but it's least sustainable.
It's the least sustainable. But I mean, I'm just surprised how good he is at 39. I was like, I mean, he had some moments in the Euros where I was like, oh, he's the age is getting to him. Apparently not.
No.
Apparently not. Which I mean, thank God. But like at some point, it's sadly gonna catch up to him.
Yeah. Maybe that's one where you look at the next window and maybe I'm a little bit wishful thinking for myself here, but you don't play him in the home game against Scotland.
And you're wishing for yourself.
But you know what I mean. You should need him more at the away goal, at the away game in Poland than you should in the home game against Scotland. So I think if you're going to say you're going to be very physical and try and limit his game time to one set of 90 minutes where he can just go full on, I would be saving him for that. And you get the effect of being able to maybe try, let's say, Lucas Sucic and Baturna in the midfield. I don't know. That probably wouldn't work, but something that's going to be going on beyond mid 2025 and certainly beyond 2026.
Yeah. I really do, because Dalic, I mean, if Modric is fit, Modric is gonna play.
Yeah.
No matter the game, except if it's a friendly. But if it's a competitive game where it would mean something, Modric is gonna play.
We don't have friendlies anymore.
Yeah, you just have them if I mean, you won't have them next year unless you're
particularly not if you're in the Nations League quarterfinals.
I
mean,
you're not gonna have them. I mean, if you get relegated, then you're probably gonna have friendlies.
To be quite honest,
but immediately relegated.
I read it and still do not understand
the same thing. Yeah.
So I think that discussion is a very valid one, but I think it's best saved for after the actual World Cup draw.
Yeah. Croatia has seemingly almost all but guaranteed their spot in the first spot, which I mean, great, thank God.
Yeah.
But somehow England already had it 100% before the Nations League even started, so that's great.
Well,
but yeah, the system is fine. That's what we're trying to say.
On England, come on.
Yeah. I mean, at least you're not Irish.
Well, unlike the manager. We didn't sing "God Save the Queen."
That's such a stupid argument too, because Dalic didn't even sing. I think against Portugal, was it that where the anthem started? He wasn't even singing. I'm like, am I gonna give a shit?
No, too left wing for him.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you didn't have two players that played for your youth teams score against you.
No.
But yeah, another positive thing for Croatia, and again, was Andrej Kramaric, who was under the weather in this break, had a fever, had headaches, but I mean, started the first match, was amazing. In the first match, created the only goal we scored against Portugal, and in the second match came in and almost scored, but sadly his shot let him down, and right at the end.
Yeah, he's in form.
Yeah, he's in form.
And having him as two up front probably suits him a little bit more than anything he's ever been asked to do for Croatia over
he just needs
his entire career.
Yeah, he needs a big guy next to him. So Matanovic or Budimir just be next to him. Petkovic takes up a lot of his space where he operates. So obviously not Petkovic, but Budimir or Matanovic, who are just gonna sit up front and try to make runs.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else to mention? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I think just as a general point, it's just been a weird international break. Just in terms of, I mean, something I sort of commented on social media. I cannot remember an international break where there's just been so many players unavailable. I mean, obviously, from Croatia, it was, let's say, Stanisic, Juranovic, Meyer. Well, so the list goes on. The list goes on. Kosovo kicking 3 players out mid international window.
Yeah.
Whatever the flips going on.
San Marino winning a game.
San Marino winning a game, yeah. I mean, just Montenegro has been played in a flood. That was just weird. I was even able to tolerate watching it in Welsh. It's just been a very weird and seemingly unrepresentative break, and more so than usual. I'm excited to get back to club football. Yeah,
so am I, but it's not gonna be for long. It's gonna be only for 3 weekends and a bit of European football in the middle, and then we're back into the Nations League again.
And then a bit of European football in the middle.
Yeah,
it's a lot of games. And I mean, again, I'm not touching the World Cup qualification format, but that is complicating matters even more. And while I appreciate sort of the explanations that are there, and they make sense in terms of UEFA trying to keep two game international breaks rather than 3 that we had during COVID, it's still a bit silly and it's still too many games.
Yeah. And on top of that, the Club World Cup. Yeah, let's not get started.
that is, unless Dinamo are very good for the next 5 seasons, that is not something we have to.
We should ever mention. Yeah.
No.
But yeah,
Infantino's ideas bad. Schäferin's generally good.
I mean, better.
The Nations League and the Conference League. I mean, they are two good ideas.
Yeah, I also see like people complaining about the international break, and I'm like, well, how do you want the big tournaments to be decided? Who's gonna play in them and who's not?
Just a 205 country, everyone in, single knockout, single elimination knockout.
So, yeah.
Just that. Let's have first round Bhutan versus San Marino and see.
Like everybody enjoys the major. Yeah, everybody enjoys the major tournaments, but the qualifications everybody hates in the Nations League. But the Nations League is a part technically of the qualification, so I would rather a player of my club get injured whilst playing, for his nation in the Nations League instead of a stupid friendly against Botswana.
Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, if you're a Hajduk fan, I wish you all the luck. I need it. God knows you need it too. If you're a Dinamo fan,
if you're a Hajduk fan, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I did an interview yesterday. So there's a guy that's doing a podcast, and he's coming to Rijeka, and he just wanted to know about Croatian football. And he's like, and we were speaking, about Croatian football, Dinamo dominance, and then he's like, "Oh, which club do you support?" Like 20 minutes in, and I'm like, Hajduk. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, thank you. I know. And he's like, so well, did you get into Europe? No. No, we didn't. But yeah, if you're a Hajduk fan, the clown show continues. We're just going in circles, ladies and gentlemen, year in, year out.
That's time for the episode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The clown show continues.
The clown show continues.
It might just be a general comment on how people view this podcast.
And if you're a Dinamo fan, I mean, enjoy the most likely win on Friday, and then enjoy the game against Bayern.
Is that the Hajduk catharsis? We're gonna lose on Friday, but at least we're gonna watch you lose 4 or 5-0 on Tuesday.
Yeah, that also got mentioned on the interview I did yesterday. He's like, so you're gonna, because I said hopefully they can get a result against the big clubs in the Champions. He's like, so you support Dinamo in Europe? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, so if they lose, you don't laugh at that. I mean, I laugh at them, but do I really have a position to laugh at them?
We take the same position I do with the blue half of Glasgow, which is absolutely fine for getting coefficient points, because at the end of the day, everyone benefits from that.
Yeah.
But if you got to a final, I'm supporting the other side.
And you lose. And you lose.
Yeah, exactly. To be quite honest with them, that has worked for my lifetime, at least. 2 European finals, 2 defeats. Thank you, Zenit. And I can't remember
who's
who
the other. Who's the other?
The 2021 Europa League fan. I've forgotten who it is. Whoever.
Was it Frankfurt? Yeah, it was Frankfurt.
Yeah, Frankfurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Varaždin fan, enjoy this season. You're the most likely of all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see what happens next week with Hajduk. Is somebody new gonna get sacked? Is Gattuso gonna survive? Is Livaja gonna leave the club? A lot of stuff can happen. Listen, I'm not throwing anything out the window.
There are still transfer windows open.
Yeah, the club could dissolve. You never know. At this rate we're going. The college did say. College did say that we have no money for wages, so a lot could happen. But yeah, thank you guys for listening or watching. You can do both. And Richard, I mean,
it's probably not a good use of your time if you're actually doing both with each episode. I'd be quite concerned
if you're watching, you're also listening.
Yes, I'm meaning if you're doing both separately.
I mean, you can do both separately. You start the episode on YouTube and on Spotify at the same time, and you give us twice the plays for one.
Yeah,
listen, see
if the sound's in sync as well.
Yeah. So thank you for listening and or watching. Richard, do you want to send us off with one last sentence?
You put me on the spot, man.
Yeah.
I don't have anything good. I've used all my good material.
Yeah, you did. Scotland is shite, ladies and gentlemen.
Whether I had any good material in the first place, I did see someone when you posted the link to the last episode just reply. It's like, I'm not listening to this if Richard's on it.
Yeah, I'm not listening to Richard. Yeah, you don't have a real good.
It's like I saw them put the word Richard in there. And I'm like, I'm fucking translating that.
You don't have a good rapport with Hajduk fans.
I mean, at this point, I'm surprised to have a good rapport with any fans.
But yeah, anyways, we're gonna send you off. Richard has no last words, so this is just gonna end like this.